Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at one of New York City's largest and most successful malls. This is Staten Island Mall in New Springville, New York on, you guessed it, Staten Island. This was not only my first ever visit to this mall, but it was also my first ever visit to Staten Island, so I really wasn't sure what to expect. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by both the mall and Staten Island. So now come along with me and let's see what this mall is all about. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs, flea market videos, and who knows what else. Thanks. Construction on this mall began in 1970, and the mall opened in 1973. It was developed by Feist & Feist Realty Corporation and was designed by Welton Beckett & Associates. And fun fact, it was built on the site of the former Staten Island Airfield, which was here from 1941 until 1955, not unlike Roosevelt Field Mall, which was also built on the site of a former airfield. The original anchor stores were Macy's and Sears. The only remaining original anchor store is Macy's, but a third anchor store, JCPenney, was added in 1993, and it's also still here today. The mall was sold to the Rouse Company in 1980, then to General Growth Partners in 2004, and then finally to its current owners, Brookfield Properties, in 2018. Brookfield Properties actually took partial ownership of the mall in 2016, but not full ownership until 2018. And from what I've read, this mall is and always has been successful, at least for the most part. That probably has a lot to do with its location on Staten Island, which has roughly 500,000 residents, and this is its only enclosed shopping center. Also, the owners of the mall seem to actually want the mall to succeed, and this can be seen in the fact that the mall has been renovated and expanded numerous times over the years, and the mall has some of the most well-known and popular retailers around, which keeps the shoppers coming back year after year. And this is unlike a lot of other malls I've been to where virtually no improvements or even maintenance have been done in years, and they seem to be only losing tenants. This mall is the exact opposite of that. As far as I can tell, this mall has gone through 3 major renovations and expansions over the years. The part of the mall where I just entered was actually added during the most recent renovation between 2016 and 2019. However, the first major renovation occurred between 1981 and 1982, just after the mall was sold to the Rouse Company. During that renovation, they updated most of the mall's interior. They added a 13-bay food court called the Picnic Food Court, which seems to have been located on the second floor near the elevator. At least that's what it looks like on an old map I found from 1994. Below Center Court, where the Christmas tree is today, there used to be a group of small shops called the Honeycomb. They removed those shops and replaced them with an amazing water fountain called the Dancing Waters. They also added additional escalators, trees, and skylights to the Center Court. The next major renovation was done between 1992 and 1993. During that renovation, they rebuilt the mall's entrances, added the East Wing, which included approximately 50 new stores, plus the JCPenney. And sadly, during that renovation, they also removed all of the mall's water fountains. That's the only downside I can see to that renovation, to be honest with you. And then from what I understand, around 2010 or so, they started to add more high-end stores to the mall, such as Pandora, Michael Kors, Armani Exchange, among others. And then finally, the mall had its most recent renovation, like I mentioned, between 2016 and 2019. During that renovation, they added about 242,000 square feet to the mall, mostly where I entered the mall. That included new businesses such as Dave & Buster's, Barnes & Noble, Zara, Ulta Beauty. They also moved the food court to its current location and renamed it the Food District, and we'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. They also added the parking garage in front of Macy's, that AMC movie theater that we just walked by, and the outdoor plaza located in front of where I entered the mall. I also read that the mall may be looking to expand even more in the next few years, but I wasn't able to find any real details on what that might entail. So if anybody has any additional information on that possible upcoming expansion and renovation, please let me know in the comments. And also, this video was filmed on a Thursday at about 3 p.m., so probably not the mall's busiest time. And I would still say that this mall was fairly busy. It definitely wasn't as busy as West Farms Mall was on a Saturday, but then again, that was West Farms Mall on a Saturday, and very few malls can compete with that, but I would still classify this as a busy mall, in my opinion. Straight ahead, this is where the Sears was located. The Sears was originally 2 floors, and there used to be a water fountain out in front of it, but it was removed during the 92 to 93 renovation. The second level of the Sears closed in 2016 and was replaced by Primark in 2017. However, the first level stayed a Sears until it finally closed in 2019. The far end of the first level of the old Sears has been a Lidl grocery store since 2018, but the front part that we just saw there is still vacant. But according to the sign out front, it's going to be a Pokido indoor active park, which I had to look that up online. It appears to be like an indoor trampoline park. They've got slides, playground, climbing wall, things like that. And according to their website, it's going to be the first one in the United States. So that's kind of interesting. And here's the Primark, which, like I mentioned, used to be the second level of Sears up until 2016. And it's kind of strange. I've noticed that most of the Primarks I've seen in malls tend to be in former Sears locations. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. Maybe it's just the fact that the Sears closed right around the time that Primark wanted to move in. I'm not sure. And as always, if you've been to this mall before, or especially if this is your hometown mall, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And would you say that what the mall looks like in this video is normal for this mall, or is it usually busier or quieter than this? So like I mentioned, the Dancing Waters water fountain was located approximately where that Christmas tree is today, which I think is probably the biggest Christmas tree I've seen at a mall in a very long time. Now I could be wrong, but I think this is approximately where the original food court was located. If I'm wrong about that though, of course let me know in the comments. But straight ahead, this is the new food court, which they're calling the Food District, and this was added during the 2016 to 2019 renovation. And this food court reminded me a lot of the one at Roosevelt Field Mall, which coincidentally is named the Dining District. So I don't know what it is with district, but apparently that's the new cool thing to call food courts. But basically it's just an enormous food court. I think this is probably the first Kong dog that I've actually seen in a food court. I have seen Kong dogs in other malls, like I think Palisades Center has one, but I don't think I've ever seen one in a food court. They've got a Chick-fil-A, Popeyes. There's the Dave & Buster's. That was also added during the latest renovation. And I did not do a walkthrough of the Dave & Buster's. I've done a few of those, and they all look pretty much the same, so I think I'm going to hold back on doing too many more walkthroughs of Dave & Buster's and or Round One, places like that. And they've got a Burger King, which I don't think I've seen too many Burger Kings in mall food courts recently. And I also don't think I've ever seen a milk shop before. Not sure if that's a chain or a one-off. But of course, pretty much every food court has a Charlie's, a Master Walk, and a Sarku. At least in this part of the country. And they've got a nativity scene, which I don't think I've ever seen a nativity scene before in a mall. Or actually, no, I take that back. Cape Cod Mall had one, but it was tiny. So that's the biggest nativity scene I've ever seen in a mall. All right, and now this is the East Wing, or the J.C. Penney wing. This is what was added during the 92 to 93 renovation of the mall. And there, of course, is the J.C. Penney, which, as I mentioned, opened in 1993. And here's the Macy's, which is the mall's only remaining original anchor store. It actually opened in 1972, 1 year before the mall itself. And like at the Sears, there used to be a water fountain out front, on the first floor, of course, but it was also removed during the 92-93 renovation. Coming up on the right, if I had to guess, I would say that probably used to be a CVS at one point, because it looks very much like the CVS that used to be at the Enfield Square Mall, except that instead of having those blue stripes, it would have had orange stripes. Here's a photo of the Macy's when there used to be a water fountain here, and I think this photo was taken sometime in the 70s. Coming up on the right is one of those calendars, toys, and game stores, which in some areas they're actually converting to pop-up Toys R Us stores. This one, though, has not been converted. Honestly, I did go to one of the Toys R Us pop-up stores, and the only difference between this and the Toys R Us pop-up store is the Toys R Us branding. There's really no other difference. And they did have a few Toys R Us branded toys for sale. But that'll be in a future video, so stay tuned for that. There's Santa, and I think he waved at me, but I'm not sure if he was waving at me, so I didn't wave back because I didn't want to be embarrassed if he was waving at somebody behind me. So I apologize to Santa if you were waving at me and I didn't wave back. I'm sorry. And of course, no mall today would be complete without a pickleball court. Before we go, let's take a quick ride in the elevator. All right, so that was the inside of Staten Island Mall. But don't go anywhere yet. Next, we're going to do a drive around the mall to see what it looks like from the outside. And once again, I would say that this mall seems to be doing very well. There were a few vacancies, but really not that many. At least not compared to most of the other malls I've been to. But of course, let me know what you think about that in the comments. All right, so this is the part of the mall they added during the 2016 to 2019 renovation. They added a bunch of stores here, and they redid the entire face of the mall. It didn't look anything like this before 2016 or so. That's where I entered the mall there, straight ahead, and then there's this little courtyard area that they added as well. And this is where Sears used to be. And you can see they already have the sign up for that Pokido. So that must be opening in the near future. And there's the Primark. This also used to be Sears. And at the end, you can see the little food market there. That also used to be the first floor of Sears. This was the Sears Auto Center, and it closed in 2016, the same time as the second floor of Sears closed. And then where this canopy is today, this used to be the Sears merchandise pickup area. I could be mistaken, but I would guess they have not updated the outside of this JCPenney since it opened in 1993. I would be shocked if they had updated it. Here's the Macy's, which I would also say has probably not been updated much on the outside since it first opened in 1973. And now the Sears was updated before it closed, and this is kind of what the Sears used to look like on the outside. If you look over to the right, you see that parking garage. That was actually added in 2017. Before that, it was just more parking lot space for Macy's. So that part of the mall looks very different than it did back before 2016 or so. And these lamps out here, these have to be original. They look very much like they're right out of the 70s. And now we're back to the part of the mall that was added in the most recent renovation. And there you have it. That is Staten Island Mall on Staten Island, New York. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.